sunbeam dancing on the waters, surfing on a wave that comes to shore. The promise in that beam is a long-awaited dream. It tells me that you love me, Kaneohe.
Marlene Sai grew up in a time when the worldwide image of Hawaii was one of romance, song, and paradise. She was fortunate enough to sit at the feet of some of Hawaii's most talented and revered musicians, and she combined those influences with the tender power of her voice and her ability to command the stage.
In my heart I feel a thrill. The trade winds say you love me, Kaneohe.
Long Story Short with Leslie Wilcox, produced with Sony Technology, is Hawaii's first weekly television program produced and broadcast in HD. High definition, it's in Sony's DNA.
Aloha mai kako, I'm Leslie Wilcox. Welcome to PBS Hawaii's Long Story Short. Marlene Sai learned the craft of music from her Uncle Andy, famed Hawaiian music composer and singer Andy Cummings. She learned the soul of Hawaiian music from her parents, her extended ohana, and all the musicians who came to Kanikapila at her family home. But the business of music, was taught to Marlene by the man who gave her her first big break, Don Ho, who, when Marlene got her start, was not yet a world-famous musician.
No, he was managing his mom's restaurant. He had his group, and his group was made up of Sonny Chillingsworth, Gary Aiko.
Wow.
Yeah, Tony B. I mean, great talent.
I can see how everywhere you went, you thought everybody was really gifted in music, at your house, at the bar.
Oh, I know. But you see, because of this, of Don and all of this talent of musicians, we started to do gigs all over the place, and people were asking. So we were constantly going and performing outside of Honey's. So the word got out, and people were finding out about us. The place was getting filled. And then from there, it was moving from Kaneohe to Waikiki. And that all happened in a matter of a few months, so to speak. When it was time for me to leave Honey's in Kaneohe, I went into Donald this one night, and I said, I need to speak with you. And he said, okay, sit. Did. And I said, I need to give you my notice. And he laughed, and he said, you can't leave. And I said, what do you mean I can't leave? He said, you signed a contract. This is a true story. And I said, yeah, but I don't think that contract is any good. He said, what do you mean you don't think the contract is any good? I said, because I'm underage. And he said, oh, come on. I said, yes, I am. Went to my locker, got up my wallet, brought it back to him. Oh, he was furious. Don finally gave in, and he said to me, I tell you what, did you sign the contract with them? I said, no, they want me to come in, and Kimo McVeigh wants me to sit with them, and so we're going to negotiate. And he says, okay, I'll go with you. I'll negotiate for you. I said, you will? Yes, of course. So he did. He negotiated with Kimo.
Was he a good negotiator?
One of the best. One of the best, yeah.
So he had that whole business side going before he really came out as a soloist himself and as a star?
Yes, yes.
Did he give you any advice along the way?
Yeah, well, the advice that, always be true to yourself. Help if you can, but always be true to yourself. Always try to get the amount of money that you feel that you're worth. But just to watch yourself and to be careful. He constantly did check up on me. I mean, we were always in touch with one another, especially once I moved up to Waikiki. But shortly thereafter, he and the rest of them came up to Waikiki, and then later on he went, he had the Ali'is, because all of these other musicians went on their own way too. So he developed his rapport, and he had the Ali'is starting with them.
Was there a lot of music in Waikiki in those days?
There was a lot of it.
Showrooms?
Because, Duke Kahanamoku's was a supper club. Don the Beachcomber was a supper club. And the International Marketplace, where it is now, way in the back of it, to the left, was Tukanamoku's. That was where the Supper Club was. In the front of it, on the street, was down the Beachcombers, you know.
So there were all kinds of venues for live Hawaiian music.
Oh yeah, it was all, and then down the road you had Sterling Mossman was there. So you had the Barefoot Bar, and you had Queen Surf, and I mean, it was all over. Across the street was the Moana Surf Riders. You had Pua Alameda playing there. At the Royal Hawaiian, Haunani Kahalewai was playing. I mean, it was all over the place, and it was just wonderful.
What a different time that was.
Yes, yes.
And you sounded fearless. I mean, you were up for the challenges.
Well, because you're young, I think. You know, because you're young and you want to explore and you want to just give it a whirl and try it. And of course, the career was just unbelievable.
So you were a teenage recording star.
Yeah.
Where did you record your songs?
Well, the first recording, the first album was done in the Bus Barn.
The Bus Barn on Alapa'i?
Alapa'i Street, yeah. You know where the police department is and that whole area down there, or Young Street, and that whole area was a bus barn, and all the buses used to park there. And there was, I remember when they said to me, we're going to record, and it's going to be in the bus barn. And I said, okay.
How does that work?
Well, and you know, because this is all so new to me. And I said, okay, we're not going to start till about 10 o'clock at night. And that's because the buses are all parked, and the people, you know, the traffic on the street, the noise and everything is all quieted down. So the buses are parked all on the side and away from, and this area back here is where they're setting up for all of the portable recording units that need to be brought in.
You could see the buses as you were performing?
Sure. I mean, like the buses are parked way out there. And we have this area that they cleared out.
And that was in the days of the old HIC buses, right?
HRT.
I'm sorry, HRT buses.
HRT, yeah.
Which were what?
Honolulu Rapid Transit.
Green or turquoise and white, were they?
Gosh, it's something like that.
But that was the old HRT days.
HRT.
So all these parked buses are silent members of your audience as you record an album.
That's right. That's right.
How did the album sound?
Because I never knew any better, you know, that was the sound for that particular album. But I'd like to take that original one and redigitize it, you know. I think it needs to be done.
You were singing Kaneohe in the bus barn? And it became a huge hit.
Huge. Kaneohe was on the Kaulana Napua. Matter of fact, Kaulana Napua, I had to go and meet with the Prendergast sisters, and at that time to get the clearance to record the song, and Sonny Chillingworth had recommended that I do it. And so once all of that was cleared away, then we were able to record it, and did Lovely Kau'i, which is a composition of Benny Sachs, Crushed Flowers, and I mean, you know, the Ku'uhoa, which is a Beamer song, and I just loved it.
What if you hadn't had access to all of these wonderful people, Andy Cummings and Gabby Pahinui, and the people who perhaps they didn't, I guess Uncle Andy coached you in so many words, but the others who you got to see in action and learn from that way?
I think what happens in life, if you are meant to be in a certain place and things kind of unfold for you, which is truly the way I believe that things started to happen for me, because no way along this did I plan it, or did I was just so grateful that it unfolded this way and it was happening, because I just felt like the greatest gift was being given to me.
What was it like to be a very young person with this huge following?
I am the young kid on the block. I was the baby in the industry. Genoa Kiavi, who I adored. I mean, when I first met her, it was like, oh. When I met Haunani Kahalewai, it was, oh gosh. And all of these names that, you know, you hear of and you learned of and heard of. I am privileged to have known most of them, you know, even to have be brought aside and instructed in some way, shape, or form.
Did you get scolded?
No.
Did you get inspired?
Yes, always inspirations, but never scolded to the point that you're singing it wrong. But why don't you try this? Met with Auntie Mattie Lamb on learning some of her songs that she wrote with Mary Kavena Pukui, you know.
Did you meet Mary Kavena Pukui?
Yes, I did.
Wow, what was she like?
I mean, all of these people were just magnificent, warm.
And she was, of course, a Hawaiian language expert and cultural expert.
Yes.
What did you speak with her about?
Primarily about their songs, because I wanted to learn them, and I wanted to learn it firsthand and really find out from them why the song was written. Therefore, I always felt that it would help me in my interpretation when I recorded it, when I sang it, and then, you know, just have a genuine feel for the particular composition. So I always try to do that and try to meet up with the talent, the composer.
Maybe that's a legacy of Uncle Andy Cummings. You'd grown up with a composer, and you respected the composers.
Yeah, well, and my father always said to him, because Dad comes from music background too. He was raised by his uncle, who is Elohikea, who has written Pualilia and, you know, all of this. So our family, Daddy's side of the family, is from Kauai, and so that's all, the Elohikea is all Daddy's ohana. So he always said to me, if you don't know, you go and find out. And he would say to me, you have to promise me this. Don't ever do anything that you don't know what you're singing about. So it's been a natural thing for me. I always do try to go to the source and get a sense of why they wrote the song. Like with Waikiki, you know, hearing from Uncle Andy as to why he wrote Waikiki and where he was. And
he was in Michigan, wasn't he?
Right, he was in Michigan. And he was in Lansing, Michigan, and as the story goes, he was snowed in. And because he was snowed in, he and his colleagues couldn't fly out back to Hawaii. So these musical ambassadors, you know, are snowed in and locked in this room. They can't get out. And he's thinking of Waikiki, of Hawaii. And so he starts to pen this song.
I've heard you sing that song. Do you consciously think of Uncle Andy in Michigan when you sing that song?
I do. I really, really do. Because when you know that he's snowed in, and you know that this is all taking place, and he's missing his Hawaii, he's been away from his family, and he writes about, Wiki, there's a feeling deep in my heart, stabbing at me just like a dart. It's a feeling heavenly. And you're outside, it's snowing, and I see memories out of the past, memories that always will last, of a place beside the sea. Waikiki, at night when the shadows, and I can just see him writing this and just having a nice warmth about him, in him, while he's stuck in the snow.
This was nobody trying to sell Hawaii as a visitor destination. No. This was somebody who lived it, who loved it.
Exactly.
And your wonderful charms are ever in my memories. And I recall when I held in my arms Waikiki.
Although this product of the Kamehameha schools grew up in a time when the Hawaiian language was not taught, barely spoken, Marlene Sai searched for the meaning of every Hawaiian song she sang. In the late 1980s, this constant quest for the source, for the truth, led her to a groundbreaking production and a regal portrayal.
The first night of my imprisonment was the longest night I have ever passed in my life. My companion could not have slept well that night. Her husband imprisoned, her children alone. I listened to her sighs without cessation. Her pain and anguish pierced my heart. It seemed as though the dawn of day would never come.
PBS Hawaii was so pleased to be the presenter of Betrayal, and it was shot right here in the studio where we're sitting.
Yes.
Betrayal, and you played the key character of Queen Liliuokalani. I don't think I could ever read about the Queen again without seeing your face in that role. Tell me a little bit about making that.
Well, prior to Betrayal, I was doing a one-actress play, and it got quite a bit of recognition. It really did. And it was asked of me if I would consider taking it to Congress and performing it for our congressional people. And I said, okay, let's figure this out. So I believe Representative Whitney Anderson and Danny Quijano was involved in really setting the groundwork on all of this. And it was just an eye-opener because I performed it at the Folger Shakespeare Theater. But we wanted to, from that, and after these one presentation, you know, it wasn't filmed in the way that it should have been filmed. And we felt, and when I say we, there's a core of us that formed Kukui Foundation. And we wanted the story to be told with characters, not just Liliu, and all of the, most of the information from research gathered to be brought forth and to be put into a docudrama. And when I said yes to doing this, I didn't realize what a huge project, you know, that this is going to evolve and come to be. And Ellen Pellicero did all of the research and most of the writing on it. And of course, Tremaine Tamayose and Joy Chong did the directing. We had a great, great cast.
Let's see, Ed Kaahea was in there?
Ed Kaahea.
Who else was in it?
Moke'ale was in it. Brickwood, Galateria. God, Charlie Ann Wright and her husband. I mean, there are just so very many talented individuals that came to, you know, Wade Kuvion was here, and I think even our Glenn was here too.
Or the person who directed the lighting of this show and
Yes.
lights all of our shows.
Yes, yes. That's why it was good to visit with him just today. But yeah, and so I had, I was parked here for a couple of months, and very fortunate that we were able to, you know.
How did you determine how to play Queen Liliuokalani?
The sense that I got of Queen Liliuokalani was really one of, I felt that her persona was regal, kind and loving because she loved children. But when I found out that she loved her cigars, I figured, okay, this
is a woman I can get into.
This is something that I really want to know a little more about. Yeah, and because she wrote such fantastic music, you know, Kalani and Sanoe and on and on and on. I think of her as just a beautiful, warm-hearted, kind, sensitive, and remarkable woman.
And may I ask, if you were the queen, would you do what she did? Because we debate all of this to this day.
You know, it takes some person to stand her ground and to be that remarkable onipa'a, you know.
Steadfast.
Yep, as she was. And she just loved her akua, you know. She trusted in the Lord.
Gentlemen of the court, in the year 1893, at the request of a large majority of the Hawaiian people, I proposed to make certain changes in the Constitution of the Hawaiian Kingdom. At the last moment, a minority of the foreign population made my action the pretext for overthrowing the monarchy, and aided by the United States Naval Forces and representative, established a new government. I owed no allegiance to the provisional government so established, but to prevent the shedding of blood of my people, native and foreigner alike, I quietly yielded to the armed forces brought against my throne and submitted to the arbitration of the United States.
Well, we don't see too many docudramas being filmed nowadays, and the showrooms, as you pointed out, are mostly shut down. So what do you say when people ask you, when young people say, how can I get started in show business? How can I be a headlining musician or singer?
That's funny you should say that, because there's a group that we're going to be recording, and I was just saying to them, treat this business as if it is a business. It's not a place or an industry that you step in just to have fun. That all will come, but you have to treat it seriously so that you can take care of your business, because I had to learn it that way. And that really is the best, that's really the best, I think. If anyone can just apply that, it's the best route to get to go, and the best thing to do is to be serious about what your focus is.
Are you talking about contract law?
I'm talking about everything.
Do you ever miss seeing your name in those huge marquee lights in Waikiki?
No.
Been there, done that?
Been there, done that. Yes. I enjoy being Grammy, and I enjoy my grandchildren, you know, and enjoying the family. Yeah.
Do your grandchildren know that Grammy was a huge star in Waikiki? Everybody knew your name, and many obviously still know it?
They know. They do know, but you know, they also know that, you know, they have to know their place too, you know. But they're very good about that. They really are.
Showing respect?
Oh, sure. But not, you know, boasting or anything.
But they have a sense of who
They do
you
have
are.
a sense. They do have a sense.
And the legacy?
Yes.
Do you think what's your legacy?
What is my legacy? God, she's been around for a long time.
From headlining in Waikiki at the age of 19, to recording some of Hawaii's most iconic songs, to portraying Hawaii's queen in the monarchy's darkest days, Marlene Sai is one of our most talented and multifaceted artists. And after all that, not a day goes by where she doesn't think about the man who gave her that big break, the man whom she affectionately called Quack, Don Ho. Thank you for spending this time with us. For Long Story Short and PBS Hawaii, I'm Leslie Wilcox. Ahui ho kako.
Long Story Short with Leslie Wilcox is produced in HD by PBS Hawaii with Sony technology. High definition. It's in Sony's DNA.
When's the last time you saw him?
Maybe a few weeks before he left us.
Was he, did he want to talk, or was it just a matter of you're saying goodbye to him?
It was at, no. We were at a friend's service, funeral service, and he was there, and we just hugged and said hello, and honey. Couldn't talk. Yeah.